Okay. All right, here we go, everybody. We're going to be live coming up. Big guest. You're going to love it. It's Tuesday. Wow, big action regarding also head of the Secret Service has resigned. Now, remember also we have the Cranston Police body cam footage from the feast. Now, I want to just clarify, and I didn't think I would have to do this, but then you get someone like Dawn Kelly, and then I realized that we have to do this. Hold on one moment. Okay. What I post is it's a clip. It's just a clip, but a link to where the clips are. That's not the full video. And I can't tell you how much it bums me out when I see someone put, well, I don't see the gun and I don't see that's not the friggin' clip. It's a link to the clip. It's a small link. We're live in 3 minutes to the clip. Well, I don't even see the. Oh my God, the stuff that I have to put up with. There's Joe Rowe. There's Andrea. Hi, Jonna. There's Brenda and Pamela. There's our friend Steve. Anthony Santos. Yes, there's Mike. So I hope you guys understand that there's Chris Moran. And a reason maybe if I explain to you guys, you can explain to someone. I'm putting a small clip of the video. A small clip, like a trailer. It's 10 seconds. This is what it is. Well, I don't see the whole. What is wrong with someone like that? But Dawn Kelly has always been a problem. She's just always been a problem. Yes, very well. All right, we're live in 2 minutes. I am telling you, folks. I just like people come up with stuff, but I can't imagine even posting that. I can't even imagine. I can't imagine. Yeah, that's right. I can't imagine not only thinking that, but then not being shy about sharing that they don't understand something like that. It's just beyond me. So, all right, we're live in 1 minute. Let me just vent. There's Steve. Yep. And there's Jane Rice. What is wrong with someone like that? But she's always been a problem. Like, do you guys understand that? I think so. There's JR. Good. Here we go. We are ready to roll. It's that's like someone going and seeing a movie trailer and then saying, "Is that the whole movie?" Um, all right. Hold on one moment. And we're just waiting for our cue. All right, folks, at 12:06, good afternoon. You're listening to the John DePietro Show. Okay, good. And AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. Let me just. One moment, everybody. There we go. Okay, we have our big guest, Sheriff Tom Hodgson, Sheriff of America. The guy is in charge of the Trump campaign for Massachusetts. He is going to join us coming up at 12:30. He was at the RNC. Folks, there's a lot of news, as you can imagine already. Good afternoon. You're watching. This is the real news at noon. This is the real news at noon. This is it. As it's happening, real time, boom. So, and right now, we are on AM 1380 or 99.9 FM. And I want to commend publicly. Wait a minute. Are you prepared to do this publicly? I am. At 12:07 on this Tuesday, July 23rd. Folks, the crystal clear audio that the great Jeff Gamach has created on the website, dpetro.com. It is the past few days, all I've been getting from people is compliments, which, by the way, is nice, of how crystal clear that audio is. For everyone except for Dawn Kelly. If you log on at the top of dpetro.com, you see Listen Live. You click on that, and it is so clear, and it sounds great. And Jeff had said, Juan, I really think you're going to like the new system we're going to use. And he was wrong. I love it. I don't just like it. So, folks, we have that. We are live on X. We are live on YouTube. Obviously, good afternoon to everybody on Facebook. This portion of our program, The Real News at Noon, where we're going to have Sheriff Tom Hodgson in charge of the Trump campaign for Massachusetts. He and I will, but he is not new to he is a longtime supporter of the president. He was at the RNC last week. You saw him on television, giving the endorsement from the state of Massachusetts. And he and I have been in DC, and he and I also shared a moment. We were on the South Lawn of the White House with the president, and I was right there as he presented President Trump with this, various things from all the sheriffs across the country. It was just a great moment. I have this fantastic framed photo. Actually, I should send it to him and have him sign it. But the guy is just one of a kind, and he's going to join us coming up at 12:30. Folks, this portion of the program, though, is brought to you by PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Pop in and see them, 3688 Quaker Lane in North Kingstown. Remember, locally sourced vegetables, sweet corn, native tomatoes, the best. 3688 Quaker Lane in North Kingstown. They're open 7 days a week. They are Rhode Island's #1 garden center. Annuals, perennials, trees, shrubs, hanging pots, hanging impatiens, large selection of beautiful patio pots, vegetable plants and herbs. They have it all, but especially right now, the most delicious locally sourced vegetables. And their sweet corn and native tomatoes are the best in the area. PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Stop in and see them, 3688 Quaker Lane in North Kingstown. All right, so everyone is buzzing about depetro.com. Now, right now, at 12:08 in the Ocean State, we're the only ones that have the Cranston Police body cam footage of what happened at the feast. Check it out on the website. Links to the video on depetro.com. Links to the video on depetro.com, which is sponsored by the Coesit Inn, 226 Coesit Avenue, West Warwick. Lunch, dinner. Who said drinks in the lounge? Probably Anthony Santos. They're waiting for you at the Coesit Inn, and they also have the market at Coesit. Remember, and it's also, they can accommodate a large group. They can handle 150 people, the Coesit Inn. Now, speaking of the body cam footage, now, as much as I almost hesitate to explain this, but I'll explain it one more time. Those of you that are regular followers and viewers know that it is it's not easy as people think trying to navigate with the different social media. And so what I do is, and I'll provide real examples. First of all, right now, Elon Musk has made X. He's transformed the platform. I'm a big fan of it. I use it as a very valuable tool, X. Now, Facebook, YouTube, X. When we, for instance, do road patrol, we have the camera. It's right there. You see everything. As an example, TikTok, as I've talked about, they don't like it. And it's not, they don't like it with me. They don't like it in general. So there's other people that attempt to do it and they shut it down. Now, the ones that seem to be the freest with content seemingly are X and YouTube. So many times there are videos that if I post them to YouTube, they say, first of all, you can post anything on X, but on YouTube, it's fine. But on FB, it can create a problem and we don't want problems like that. And it's not always easy to navigate. Instagram is another one. They seem to allow more stuff than some other platforms as we're finding our way there. So many times, if I can't, I think I'm explaining this well, and I know I've explained it, but I'll explain it one more time. If I post something, if we can't post something like a very intense police body cam footage of the feast, it doesn't mean we don't post it. We find a platform where we can post it. And so that's why I don't take any chances. I've posted stuff in the past on a certain type of platform, and then you get flagged for it. That's not the type of content they want. And then who wants that, right? So we've had success. So what I'll do is I'll post it on YouTube, and then we use DePietro.com is always the clearinghouse. And what I mean by that, and this is really important, and I'm going to be done in 60 seconds explaining it. But if you go to DePietro.com, it's there, but many times we'll use YouTube or whatever platform will allow us to put that. So what I have done, for instance, with the body cam stuff, I put a small clip of the videos onto FB to let people know, hey, we have this. And if you follow this link, here's where you can see the full thing. So then all you do is you click on the link, and then it brings you to DePietro.com, and then you can watch all of the videos. I mean, to me, it seems simple until you have someone who I won't mention any names, Dawn Kelly, who says, oh, is that it? I don't see that. There's no sound. That's the whole, folks, I'm telling you, there's no way they have to be Biden voters, because I mean, it's so off-putting. And I know it's the small majority of people, and I probably shouldn't go on and on, but these people come up with stuff I would never in a million years think. Like I said, it'd be like going to see a movie, a film, and then you're waiting there and they run the trailers, right? Coming attractions. And if someone said, that's the whole thing, 2 minutes? Actually, I'll bet that's what it's like going to see a movie with Dawn Kelly. I'm not paying to see that. It's only 2 minutes long. And the guy was talking through the whole thing. In a world unknown, space creature. That's the whole movie? I didn't realize that is probably what it's like going to see a film with Dawn Kelly. That's the whole thing? It's only 2 minutes? No, it's the blanking trailer. Holy cow. You know what? Many times we block people, foul language, disrespecting what we try to do, disrespecting other people on the platform. I may have to start blocking people for stupidity, because we're at a boiling point. We're at a breaking point, I should say, where I just can't take it. But anyhow, check out DePietro.com. Here's the annoying. Why don't you just post that? I've just explained why I can't post it there. So I had someone that said, well, why don't you just post this on TikTok? Because TikTok doesn't like that type of stuff. It's their platform. I don't argue. They don't tell me what I should be doing, so I don't tell them what they should be doing. It's their platform, because they don't want that type of thing. You get flagged and they take it down. Well, why don't you just, oh my God, these people. That's it. We're just at a crossroads here. We're going to have to. Either that or an IQ test for certain individuals. All right. What's happening right now, we're seeing so again, just to finish up, it's great. We're the only ones that have it so far. I'm sure today, Channel 10, Channel 12 are contacting them saying, hey, can we get the blah, blah, blah. But right now it's on DePietro.com. And if you're not on Facebook and you're listening to me on the website or on the radio, then you can log on and then just watch the videos, because they're pretty good. You get a better understanding, and it seems clear. You see that there were two individuals that were about to fight, and then the police start moving over to them, and seemingly one of them, from what it looked like, one of them pulled a weapon, but the person that he pulled the weapon on, he, also grabbed for the weapon. It went off. So the guy that pulled the weapon ended up shooting himself, and then the other person got out of there. So you can see it. It's very insightful. And then the Cranston police pounce on the situation. The gun's loose. I mean, it's a pretty wild scene at the feast. Folks, I want to remind you, so on Saturday, between my normal routine and then being at the feast, then being out on road patrol, I always check my mileage. I did like 9 miles walking around. I want to remind you, I wouldn't be able to do that if I had problems with my feet. And if you hear that, like 9 miles, I can't walk, 9 feet. Contact Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialists, Smithfield Medical Center, Route 5. I've always been a runner, so at different times you run into foot problems, for a variety of different reasons. You got to, it's not normal, and you can't just accept, well, God just doesn't want me to walk anymore. No, that's not it. Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialists, right in the Smithfield Medical Center, Route 5 in Smithfield. Beautiful building, ample parking, 3 board-certified podiatrists. So with all aspects of foot care, whether it's skin conditions, bunions, hammer toes, and by the way, they take all health insurance. So Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialists, do not go to a store or a kiosk and, for expensive inserts from some 22-year-old Clark. You want the professionals. Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialists. Contact them today, 401-949-3220. They have digital x-ray on site, can make a quick diagnosis. They can begin treatment immediately. Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialist, 401-949-3220, online at greenvillefoothandankle.com, and you can find them on Facebook. So the big news of the day, obviously, is let me just say this about the Vice President, Kamala Harris, and all the local Dems, they're all rallying. I'll tell you, I don't have the perfect analogy, but what you're seeing is, since the debate, the anxiety, the angst built up of they can't believe that Biden is the nominee, and it's doom and gloom, and we're going to lose. And to me, it's almost like you're having like an unreliable older car with a lot of miles on it, and then suddenly you get a new car. Like, that's what you're seeing to me. It's like, oh, thank God he's out, even though we haven't seen him, but thank God he's nowhere. So Harris is not a strong candidate, as people are about to find out. Let them raise money. Let them pretend. This is a new emperor without clothes. That's all she is. She's it's Biden Harris. And now, there's so much enthusiasm and excitement and blah, blah, blah. I'll say patience. There's a reason why she was not the nominee in 2020. There's a reason why she actually has lower approval ratings than Biden does. And it'll play itself out. You watch. They're jumping up and down and all the excitement. And let's see. It is interesting to see who she's going to pick, because it does seem to be either the senator from Arizona or the governor of Pennsylvania is looking more and more. But you never know until they vet them, they focus group them. You don't know what it's like to be in a room with someone like that. Tim Kaine was a very weak pick in 2016. As you look back, Pence was not a great pick for President Trump. He was a safe pick. But Harris is not built for prime time. To me, this race does not change. They're going to lose. They're just going to lose with a different candidate. But there is something to be said. So that's democracy. Right? That's democracy. Biden won the primary, has all the delegates, already participated in a debate, and then boom, the Hollywood elite and all the donors force the guy out, and we really don't even know what his health is right now. That's their idea of democracy. It sure doesn't sound like democracy. So let them. You're going to see polls. She is set for the first rally, and that laugh. She's terrible on her feet. They're all excited about all the money piling in. I am telling you, Kamala Harris, the vice president, is not If anyone has proven they're not ready for prime time, it is her. She hasn't done anything as VP. I recognize that, um, is the media excited? The media was going to be excited when it became very obvious that Biden was certainly not going to win. That's when the media became excited. So, um, so all of the talk about her, they can try to undo what they've done. The problem is when you have this amount of money flowing in, a presidential campaign is like no other business because it is a business that, like, overnight, there's a lot of working parts and pieces, and there's huge amounts of money flowing in and cash flow and setting up offices and all over the place. And therefore there's a lot of room for error. And Kamala Harris, if the vice president, if she has proven anything, she is not a well organized, disciplined manager, chief executive. She's had a lot of turnover with her staff. She throws people under the bus. She's a diva. She's going to be everywhere. You get tired. You get grouchy. You watch. That campaign will implode, regardless of who the vice president is. Now, someone asked me, if you're going to have an event, who is it that could get rid of the mosquitoes in your yard? Mosquito Joe. Mosquito Joe of Rhode Island. Mosquito Joe, the mosquitoes will go. Call them 401-426-2032. What was the other thing? Don Jose's Tequila. Nancy was going to have some people in out of town. She wanted to go to a fun place, and she's heard me talk about Don Jose's Tequila. Right there, upscale Mexican cuisine, historic Federal Hill, 45 high-end tequilas. And again, today, Taco Tuesday, from 3 to 7. They do the Sunday brunch, 10:30 to 3. They have an outdoor patio in the back. It's really, really fun. And the 3-course special, Monday through Thursday, is just $26.99. Margarita flights are $29.99. Don Jose's Tequila and over 50 high-end tequilas in stock. You're going to love it. I highly, highly recommend the fun dining experience there. So in Rhode Island, as you can imagine, a little unusual. I heard Governor McKee was trying to leverage his endorsement. I'll endorse Kamala Harris if she agrees to pay the bridge. I heard it went nowhere. I heard it was shot down. Talk about like overplaying his hand and somehow thinking that he has some leverage. He doesn't have any leverage. Governor McKee should look at Biden and recognize that they're, in many ways, they're very similar. They both have weak. Kamala Harris is weak. I mean, she's not as weak as Matos, but few people are as weak as Lieutenant Governor Matos. But Biden, President Biden, who we still haven't seen him. He is still the president, by the way. Before you have planned the retirement party and the gold watch, he could barely get through calling into her headquarters. I think at this point, since the charade is up, I just think you're not going to see him at all. I think he's going to be wandering around the White House. I think they're going to have him out at the vacation home. Since Biden will address the nation tomorrow on his decision to drop out of the race. Okay, so there's that. Let me just see. Oh, okay. 8 o'clock tomorrow night, his decision to drop out. That's how long they're going to need to get him ready and propped up. But after that, you're really not going to see him. And the question is, can he sit there and deliver a teleprompter speech? It'd be frightening if he couldn't. Should he still be the president? Of course not. He should not be the president. But notice all of the Rhode Island representatives who were carrying on the conspiracy. Governor McKee was carrying on the conspiracy. This didn't happen overnight. If you've ever had a family member, relative, they don't just, it's not like you see them on a Saturday and they're fine. And then the next Saturday you go to see them and they're, gee, what's wrong? They have full dementia. It's not like that. It happens over a period of time. I heard McKee was trying to hold out. See, that's another example of being tone deaf. And you're not going to hear this from anybody else because there are still members of the media that McKee has control over. But what I was told from a very solid source, he was actually trying to play his endorsement like it was really meaningful. That I'm not going to endorse the vice president till I get guarantees that they're going to pay for the bridge. Until suddenly he became the only governor who had not endorsed her. Now, Governor McKee, to me, it's almost like the Seinfeld episode with George of the opposite, right? Where George suddenly realized if every instinct he has is wrong, the opposite would be the right thing to do. He gets a girl he wants to date, he gets a new apartment, he gets a job with the New York Yankees. Governor McKee, this is the same person that put out, all right, who wants to bid on my bridge? $1 billion. And no one wanted to bid on the bridge. It's the same tone deaf instincts. I heard that Pork Boy told him, hold off on your endorsement till she guarantees the bridge. They said, first of all, we're not guaranteeing anything, number one. Number two, okay, you're going to be the only Democrat governor right now not to endorse. Raimondo's endorsed, Sheldon Whitehouse endorsed. Okay, fine. We're not giving any guarantees for you and your ridiculousness with $1 billion contract in a bridge where so much is tied in with campaign donations. And what happened to McKee? As always, he folded. Oh, okay, in that case, I'll endorse. And endorsed her. I mean, the guy, you just can't get any weaker. So Biden tomorrow is going to announce to the nation his decision. It's your instincts are not wrong. How should this have worked? Should President Biden address the nation on Sunday to announce he was? Of course he should have. He's not up to it. He hasn't been up to it who knows how long. He wasn't fully with it in 24 years ago, let alone now. So he had enablers. Now, the big news of the day, though, is the director of the Secret Service has stepped down. One thing I'll say about her, boy, she stood there yesterday and took a beating at Capitol Hill. You haven't seen a beating like that in a while. She should have resigned the Monday after, but didn't. That didn't happen. There's still a lot of unknowns. They don't have answers. She has stepped down. Now, some people said, well, if she steps down, there's going to be more chaos. I don't know what to make of the whole thing. Maybe someday through the investigation, we'll get a better answer. But that, and it's actually pretty simple. And I'll be curious to hear Sheriff Hodgson's thoughts on this, Sheriff Tom Hodgson. But to me, it's pretty simple. And you have to read between the lines. But for whatever reason, it should have been communicated that he needed to pause. Mr. President, you can't just go out just yet. There's a suspicious person. They're exploring it right now. All they had to do was he never should have gone out on that stage. He never should have gone out on that stage. And maybe we're going to get the full report. Maybe the only way we're going to get the answer is with her out of the mix. I do understand that now the FBI is investigating. And so, that comes into play as well. And I also understand that maybe she felt that there are certain things with our security that she could not give answers to, and then so therefore, you don't want to then risk everybody. But that was I haven't seen a hearing with a beating like that in quite some time. So, well, folks, we're gonna bring him on. We're going to let him get adjusted just a little bit for a moment. Before we do, coming up in just a moment, we're going to speak with, he is running the Massachusetts Trump for President campaign. We've had him on the program many different times. The guy's a legendary law enforcement. It is Sheriff Tom Hodgson. We're going to bring him on in just 30 seconds. But I want to remind you, AJ Drywall Plasters Home Improvement, folks, call them today, 401-323-9252. Frame to finish basements. They can do acoustical ceilings, new homes, additions, commercial rehabs, painting, remodeling. They can do it all for your home or business. It's AJ Drywall Plasters Home Improvement, 401-323-9252. 401-323-9252. AJ Drywall Plasters and Home Improvement. Now remember, if you're thinking of doing in-law apartment, what they're saying right now is a lot of these, they call them a granny flat, is going to be legal. So maybe you want to construct something like that. And maybe you have an existing structure. Now you want to, okay, instead of having a garage, I'm going to turn it into a living space. AJ Drywall Plasters Home Improvement, folks, free quote, 401-323-9252. They can do it all. Frame to finish, basements, acoustical, ceilings, new homes. It's AJ Drywall Plasters and Home Improvement, 401-323-9252. And also one more quick reminder. Someone asked me, are there still seats available? Red Sox, Baltimore Orioles road trip to Baltimore. The answer is yes. Alan Hockman tours August 16th through the 18th. Call 401-274-TRIP or online at 274trip.com. It's a great trip, and there's a couple of seats left. If you've ever been on, I've been on this trip. It's a great trip. Red Sox, Baltimore, and it's very, very affordable. All right, folks, joining us right now, he was at the RNC. To me, he just defines what law enforcement is, should be. Longtime Trump supporter. He has spent private time with the president, and right now he is running the Massachusetts campaign for President Trump. And let's welcome him back to the program. And it is our friend, Sheriff Tom Hodgson. Sheriff, good afternoon. Good to see you, my friend.
Good afternoon, John. It's great to be with you.
Sheriff, first of all, you were at the RNC. Take us through that a little bit. I mean, by all accounts, I don't remember the last time there was such a convention like that. Maybe you'd have to go back to really 20 years ago in New York, Madison Square Garden, President Bush, backdrop of 9/11. But take us inside what it was like for you at the RNC in Milwaukee.
Well, it was really a sort of mixed emotions. One, of course, was the whole emotional aspect of when President Trump showed up a couple of days before he actually spoke to accept the nomination. You could almost see he was emotional himself because he just had come off that assassination attempt, and boy, I'll tell you, I don't know how many people had to leave there and get some help from an ear doctor because the level of excitement and the support for the president was just, it was unbelievable and probably unprecedented. And the other part was that there was such unity from the beginning all the way through the convention amongst all the delegates that were there, the alternates and other people that were there as visitors. It was truly amazing where we saw the kind of unity, I think, that everyone's looking for in this country, regardless of your party. People want to get back to a united America, and we felt the beginnings of that right there at that convention, and it's really hopeful for what's going to be up and coming.
Folks, again, our guest is Sheriff Tom Hodgson, who is taking up, he is running, he is the chairman of the Trump 2024 campaign in Massachusetts. Sheriff, how was it for you as someone that, I mean, you have spent time with him, you've been such a supporter of the president, you have been with the president, had a chance to talk to him in the White House. How was it for you to be able to step up to the microphone and give the full endorsement from the Republicans from Massachusetts?
Well, it felt obviously very good to me and important for me because, as you said, I have worked with this president, and I have such respect and admiration for him, and got to see things that other people didn't see because they didn't have the chance to be close to him and understand the man himself behind the presidency. So for me, it was really special to be able to deliver those votes, knowing that I had worked with him and brought other sheriffs to the White House to work with him on probably one of the most important issues facing the nation, which was this whole immigration reform effort that he started when he first became president, and also his efforts to reinstate the rule of law in this country. So as a former sheriff, and being able to deliver that as someone who worked with him was it was very, very special for me.
Sheriff, I'm curious to get your reaction to, now we're learning after yesterday, I just don't remember the last time I saw a hearing like that, but the Secret Service director has resigned. Any thoughts on that in the aftermath? What we have witnessed over from last weekend of the assassination attempt to President Biden now stepping down, and then now the head of the Secret Service resigning. I'm curious to hear some of your thoughts on that.
Well, with regards to the head of the Secret Service, look, the way she testified yesterday, I think sort of gave everybody an understanding of how they possibly, how they did actually fail uh, with regards to the type of protection they should have actually had in place for the president. I mean, some major oversights. I think most people have seen it already. They had a water tower that could oversee just about everything and would have overseen that building and everywhere else. No spotters up on that tower, um, and the way she conducted herself at the hearings yesterday, I think, spoke to a lack of professionalism, a sense of arrogance, and probably she did the absolute best thing, which is to step down and let somebody in there who, after 9 days, should have the ability to know exactly at least the basic answers to the questions, which she didn't even have. And so it appeared she was sort of stonewalling, and that's not okay either. If mistakes were made, which they were, uh, people have to be held accountable. Uh, the Secret Service members on the ground did a phenomenal job, but whoever was responsible for putting the plan together, I think, has some answering to do to the American people. With regards to President Biden stepping down, frankly, uh, I'm glad it finally happened. What I really feel is outrageous and shameful is that Kamala Harris and all these elected officials, Pelosi, his own family, his wife, saying he's perfectly fine, he's great, he's on top of his game, when they knew it was a lie. We could see it. We've seen it's like Mayorkas with the border. Hey, the border's secure. What you're seeing, you don't believe your lying eyes there. I mean, this is the kind of nonsense that's gone on, and they've done it not for the betterment of the people of this country who they're supposed to serve. They've done it to advance their own political base, to keep power and to gain money. And that's the bottom line. And I think the American people now have seen through it. They recognize in the alternative that Donald Trump doesn't need money. He didn't need the job. He donated his salary. And he loves the American people and wants to see problems solved. And I dealt with that firsthand in working with him in Washington. So, so the fact that President Biden has stepped down, has agreed not to run again. Frankly, um, not only is he not qualified to run for another 4 years, but sadly, for his cognitive decline and whatever other health issues he has, he frankly ought to resign today. He doesn't have the capabilities to be able to serve as our commander in chief in the presidency. And it shows in the way that our national security has been compromised. He doesn't make decisions. He doesn't go to work other than from 10 to 4 if he goes that long. Um, that's not what we need from a leader who has to be out in front.
Folks, again, our guest is Sheriff Tom Hodgson, head of the Trump campaign in Massachusetts. Sheriff, I'm also curious, immigration. Well, there were several things from the convention. First of all, those Gold Star families, that was really remarkable. But talking about the border, talking about that Harris, the vice president is now, she was the border czar in charge. And I'm already seeing that Governor Healy, I mean, Massachusetts has been in the forefront of, we've all seen all the footage at Logan Airport. We've seen all the, quote, migrants coming in and overflowing the shelters. A lot of people wouldn't realize it, but Massachusetts has been one of those states that has been greatly impacted by this horrendous border situation with the Biden-Harris campaign.
Yeah, and let's not lose sight of the fact that Maura Healey has a lot to do with that, in spite of the fact she's trying to be pointing her finger down to Washington as though Washington's the problem. When I was at the border several years ago with other sheriffs from around the country, we were meeting with the CBP people in McAllen, right there at the border at the processing station, talking to them about what can we do, how do we slow the tide of drugs pouring into our communities, how do we help to support them in the effort to keep the border secure, reporting requirements, things like that. At the same time, the same day, Mara Healy, and you can see it you can Google it. She was in Tijuana, telling the people in Mexico that it was wrong for the United States not to let them come in illegally. And
Mm.
so this is a woman who was promoting this. She was marching in lockstep with this sort of left wing movement to get more and more people here in violation of our laws. And she was an attorney general at the time. Imagine that, an attorney general telling people that it's wrong. The United States is trying to enforce its laws and prevent you from coming in. And that's what she did. Now that, we've had our community center emptied out in Roxbury, and that, to me, Mara Healy, to allow that community center to be utilized was one of the most outrageous uh, violations of her responsibilities to the people of this Commonwealth. Because here are these parents in Roxbury who took the right steps that you want parents to take to keep their kids away from the street corners, to be exposed to the fentanyl that's pouring in over the border by these illegals pouring in here, so that their kids don't get caught up and hooked on drugs or die. She pushes them out of the community center and says, I'm sorry, mom and dad. You may be trying to prevent your kids from being exposed to drugs and even dying from that fentanyl that's pouring in, but I need this space for some people who want to come in here illegally and need a place to stay.
Mm.
And that is the most outrageous uh, decision and an irresponsible decision on the part of this governor, who has been pro-illegal all the way through, and now when it gets out of control, wants to point the finger and make everybody believe, hey, look over here. It really isn't me. Well, it was. She was party to it, and she's created the problem.
Folks, again, our guest is he's head of the Trump campaign in Massachusetts, is Sheriff Tom Hodgson. Sheriff, right now, according to the polls, it sure looks like New Hampshire is in play. Now, Rhode Island, Mass, and Connecticut, it's always an uphill battle. But I want to give you an opportunity to tell people how they can get involved with the Trump efforts in Massachusetts. And, traditionally, I've gone up and seen the president in a rally in New Hampshire. I think that New Hampshire being in play bodes well for all of New England, because I'd be inclined to think that that's where people locally might get a chance to see him.
Well, look, we're trying to get the president to come here to Massachusetts, and I'm going to tell you, John, we have a real shot at winning Massachusetts. And I tell you that because I've been all over this state. I'm speaking at all different venues and so forth. And
Wow.
I have Democrats coming up to me from all over the state saying, "Hey, I've been a Democrat all my life. I'm voting for Trump." The college Republicans, when I spoke at their convention, they said, "Hey, we thought we were outliers in our families. Most of our family members are Democrats, but they're all voting for Trump."
Wow.
And we're hearing it all over. I just had a woman today. I just delivered some more signs, Trump signs, and she said her neighbor hated President Trump, and one of the signs she asked me to get, she's getting for this Teamster who is now a Trump supporter.
Wow.
So look, everybody, John, everybody. I don't care what state you're in. Everybody's been impacted by the cost of food, the cost of living, gas prices, the impacts of illegal immigration in our neighborhoods across this nation, the drugs pouring in, all of these things, our national security, our schools are overrun. There's lack of accountability for people who are here. So that all affects the average person. So this bread and butter issues are what really matter to Americans now, and they're finally saying, wait a minute, the politics don't matter to me anymore. When I'm getting half a bag of groceries for $100 when I used to get 3 bags in previous years, that isn't okay for me. And when my insurance is going up, and when I can't afford this and that, so when you start impacting people's quality of life the way we have been in such a huge way, people aren't looking at party anymore. They're saying, I want the solution, and I want to get back to what we had when President Trump was here. So the way people can get involved and to make that happen in Massachusetts and across the country, first of all, they can go to MASS, the number 4, Trump2024.com. It's MASS, the number 4, Trump2024.com. And when they go on there, they can sign up to volunteer. They can see all the events that are taking place. all the different ways that they can participate in phone calling initiatives that we'll be doing, Trump Force 47, Trump Talk, all these things that they can do actually right from home. There'll be those opportunities to do that as well. But the other thing I would say to everyone, more than anything else, once every 4 years, we have a chance to determine our destiny, all of us. We have a sacred right to have our voice heard. And with all that's been going on, and most people, at least once a day, are complaining about how bad things are, there's no excuse now for us not to take the steps to go
Yep.
into the voting booth and vote. It's critically important. Talk to your friends, your family, go vote. It takes maybe a half hour out of your day once in 4 years to determine the future of this country and to get back what you want. And that's a simple, simple thing to do. I would recommend people early vote. Go to your town halls, find out when your town halls are accepting people to go in for early voting and vote early. That's
Yes.
very helpful, and it allows us to focus on the people who aren't haven't voted yet and
Right.
maybe haven't been thinking about voting, and we can put our efforts there to make sure we get everyone we possibly can out to vote, regardless of what their decision is to vote, who they to vote for. We need to get back in America to the sacred right of voting and taking back from the government the determinations of how we will live in the future. And we're the only ones that can do it. If we ignore that, then we basically we have to say we're culpable for the problems that we continue to have.
Folks, the guy is just a legend, a national treasure. He is Sheriff Tom Hodgson. Sheriff, so good to see you. So good to hear your voice. Thanks for
Always,
coming on, and we'll talk to you again soon.
always great to see you, John. And thanks for the great work you're doing. Radio is the way we're going to bring this country back. God bless you and you and the
All right.
listeners. Take care.
Thank you, Sheriff. Folks, there it is. Sheriff Tom Hodgson right here. I mean, one of the all-time greats he is. And boy, he delivers. Boy, that would be huge. President Trump coming to Massachusetts. So people don't have to drive all the way to New Hampshire. You know, right now, I'm hearing from a lot of people who are Democrats. They're not going to vote for Harris. All this excitement that you're hearing and the fundraising, it's all the party elites. It is the media. It is, and when I say that, you can't discount George Clooney and all of Hollywood all excited about her. But I don't believe that is, and Biden's still in the picture, by the way. He's going to address the nation tomorrow night. Folks, this portion of our program, this Race for the White House update, is brought to you by Propane Plus. Call them today, 401-885-4209. In Massachusetts, 508-252-3359 for Propane Plus. 3 generations. They're available 24/7. It's Propane Plus. Now, you can also go to their website, propaneplus.com, residential, commercial, type in your zip code. Boom, they have it for you. Propane Plus. They are just the best. Call them. All your propane needs. Do you use propane? Call Propane Plus today. 401-885-4209 or 508-252-3359 for Propane Plus. Well, folks, our Race for the White House guest has been brought to you by J. Perry Paving. High quality, fair pricing, exceptional service, over 20 years experience. Or maybe your parking lot, any type of paving. J. Perry Paving, high quality, exceptional service. Call for a free estimate, 401-732-1730, 401-732-1730. J. Perry Paving, licensed and insured contracting company. Hey, whether it's a brand new paving project or just a cracked driveway, give them a call for a free quote, 401-732-1730 for J. Perry Paving. I'll tell you, Sheriff Tom Hodgson, the guy, he's modest. I can tell you, if there was anyone that was going to be able, if there's anyone that would be able to bring President Trump to Massachusetts, it would be Sheriff Tom Hodgson. There are different people that you see pop up that talk about, they've had contact with the president. I am telling you, I witnessed it firsthand. I was at the White House with the sheriff, and there was the president right there. I witnessed it on more than one occasion. They've had a presentation at the White House. They've been in the Oval Office with the president. If there's anyone that could bring, that would be remarkable, to bring President Trump to Massachusetts. And by the way, Governor Healy, she is changing now the policy. They're seeing poll results. They're seeing how people feel. Immigration, you don't hear anyone in Rhode Island talk about it, but it's a huge issue out there in the country. It's one of the top issues. And what's really going to drown Harris, who should not be, she's not qualified or competent to be vice president. She's just not. What you're seeing now is they're trying to recreate what happened with in my mind, with President Obama in 2008. She's not President Obama. She's not. She's not a serious individual. She's not good on her feet. What? Just, this is always the easiest part. I remember when she announced in 2019, she had a huge turnout in Oakland, California. And then it just slowly implodes. The problem with the Harris campaign is going to be the candidate. She's the problem. Real diva, terrible with the talking points. She doesn't have it. Now, there are people in the Democrat Party that maybe would give President Trump and J.D. Vance a better run. It's not Harris. It's not Harris. The biggest, as I've said yesterday, the biggest problem for the Harris campaign is President Biden is still president. And he's saying, I want to be right there. They don't want him. All the money pouring in, everything else, it's all like a sigh of relief, but he's not going anywhere. And he's going to be right there. Wait till you see how many times they're going to trot him out. They don't want to trot him out. Every time, if he were to walk out on stage, it's a reminder that she was part of that, and that what did she know? It's not happening. Now, I think it is funny, though. He could barely call in. President Biden, I don't think, if he can't run, he should not still be president, by the way. He shouldn't be president. And let me also just see this. Secret Service director resigned. That is the big news of the day. But as I was mentioning, I thought one of the more frightening clips of the video, it's one thing, as I said, all right, President Trump on the stage when the shots are ringing out, clearly that's frightening. But I think the leading up to it, if you've seen those clips where Crooks, the gunman, is like wiggling around, navigating on the roof with the rifle, I just found that it's just so evil and disturbing. And we haven't seen anything like that. Thank God we haven't seen anything like that. I am surprised. I have to admit, I was one of the people that I thought Secret Service kind of have everything locked down. I did, wrongly. I think on September 11th, there were people that thought that at the White House, they actually have missiles that come out of the ground and could shoot things down. We learned that wasn't true, as they were trying to get Cheney in the bunker, below the White House. It's still, I don't understand. And clearly a lot of other people don't understand. You wonder just how much is smoke and mirrors, or how much are real protection. And if someone like that can get close, I don't know. If you're a foreign adversary, if you're Iran or you're China, I would think they have to be looking at that. Like, that's how easy it is. That's how easy it is. What if we were just at a field next to there and we sent a drone? Did they have anything that could shoot down the drone? Wow, like that's how easy it is? That kid lives with his parents, 20 years old. I mean, things have got to change. So she did resign today. Folks, this portion of the program, I want to remind you about Royal Exteriors. If you think getting a new roof, call them today, 401-533-9989. Andrew is so gifted, and he's knowledgeable. His customer personal service is fantastic. It's Royal Exteriors, where the customer is treated like a king or a queen. 401-533-9989. Call for a free estimate. Royal Exteriors, 401-533-9989. You can find them on Facebook, Royal, like the Royals, Exterior for your roof or siding, or you can also find them online, royalexteriorsri.com. Put them in the mix. Let Andrew earn your business. Give him a shot. 401-533-9989 for Royal Exteriors. Well, folks, good afternoon. You're listening to the John DePietro Show. It's AM 1380, 99.9 FM. Sheriff Tom Hodgson is just, I mean, the guy is dedicated law enforcement. And the guy, absolutely, we're fortunate to have someone like that in the area. I can tell you that if anyone could bring President Trump into the area, it would be Sheriff Tom Hodgson. It would be the sheriff. So now there's no guarantee, and I'll tell you why there's no guarantee. Because it's tough. It's not a traditional battleground state. It's not. It is right now. The Trump campaign. Where do they need to spend all their time? Well, the states that are essentially going to decide the election are states like Michigan. Pennsylvania is a very important state. North Carolina is a very important state. And Arizona is also a very important state right now. And so that's where, whether it is Georgia or whether it's North Carolina or Arizona or Wisconsin or Pennsylvania or Michigan, that's where the president, meaning President Trump, that's where he really needs to spend the bulk of his time. Biden won Arizona 2020. President Trump is leading in Arizona right now. President Trump won North Carolina, but not by a lot. And now you have a Democrat governor. North Carolina is an important state. Pennsylvania is a wildly important state. And then, as I said, Michigan. Now, they believe they're going to have J.D. Vance in the Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, those three states, but still very important states. All right, now we are going to do Facebook Live later. Folks, coming up, good afternoon. You're listening to the John DePietro Show. It's AM 1380, 99.9 FM. We're going to break for the 1 o'clock news. The big news, the director of the Secret Service has resigned. President Biden is going to address the nation tomorrow night to explain why he's not running. We're going to be back on the other side, another hour of the radio show to go right here on the John DePietro Show.